Great. So hello, everyone. Welcome to the No Wallet Demo 14th already. That's amazing. So today we're going to discuss our recent releases with Astar improvements for the transfers and DApps, as well as the Polkadot staking release. Then we're going to jump to the MOVR GLMR staking release demo. So we're going to showcase all the features regarding MOVR and GLMR staking. And after that, we will show, we will basically release the next week with all the announcements and availability in Google Play and App Store. And then we will cover the roadmap and also our recently approved Kusama Treasury proposal in the end of the slides. But before that, let me also start the demo in Momentum. So if you haven't played with Momentum yet, that's kind of the Kusama verse application, which you can find that many teams already joined and providing the spaces there, right? So you can fly around, visit them, read any descriptions, see the materials, and no wallet space is already available here as well. So you can find us here if you would like to have this experience, right? We're going to conduct the demos in parallel in Zoom and Momentum from now on. So let's see how it goes. But first, let me start the demo for the folks who are using the Momentum as well. So let me start the stage here. Great. And after that, I need to go here and start the screen sharing. All right, so I think that now Momentum folks should see everything as well as the Zoom users. And now we can switch to the demo itself. I would just ask Anna to see if everything works well. And if it is, then we will just proceed further. Working, great, amazing. So sorry for this a little delay, but yeah, we just gave a time for a few more participants to join the demo as well. All right, so let's proceed with the demo itself. Before we start, feel free to join the No Wallet community. You can have most of the links on our website, but also join our Telegram groups, follow us on Twitter, join on the Element, subscribe on the YouTube, and read us on Medium. Now, let's start with recent release review. So last week, we have provided a new update, which is 2.7.1 on both platforms. And main goal was to cooperate with the Astar team just to get Astar fixes done for the production. So the long story short, the Astar is very loaded right now. So there are lots of people are using the Astar network. So there was a need to adjust how transfers are working from the client sites like a No Wallet or Polkadot. So we did provide the fix regarding that. Also, we have cooperated with them to fix their DApp. So now our users can utilize the Astar DApp staking from the No Wallet, which is great as well. In addition to all these Astar fixes, we have also worked with the Polkadot team in order to provide the option for Polkadot staking natively using the Nova. So now you have finally a new option on our staking tab for another token to stake. So feel free to use it and let us know what do you think. And overall, we also tuned the performance a little bit. So now the app works faster than before. So yeah, feel free to download this update from App Store and Google Play and let us know what do you think. Now let's jump to the most juiciest part of today's demo, which is Moonbeam and Moonriver staking. Here on this slide, you can see, I would say most of the features, like on a high level, which we have been developed for the last weeks, right? And my suggestion would be that we will just go one by one to this list, and at the same time, we'll play the demo. But I would say that the No Wallet would be the first mobile application to provide MOVR and GLMR staking natively on chain, right? And also it will saturate user experience with such features like viewing the staking rewards history or viewing the total rewards, which it's kind of hard to get from any of the app currently for MOVR and Moonbeam staking. Right, so let's go one by one with this list. And let's start with the view MOVR GLMR network staking info. I will jump to my Android application here. So if you're not familiar, that's how No Wallet looks like. And I will switch to the wallet which already has some MOVR and GLMR staking. So that first feature about networking's staking information is basically to provide user the general information such as minimal stake or active delegators or staking period or unstaking period, so that users would be acknowledged with, let's say, staking conditions and also like a network information for the MOVR and GLMR staking. That's fetched from directly from the blockchain nodes, so we are not depending on anything besides the blockchain itself. And worth to mention that this information is updated constantly, like on a daily basis. So it's really nice to have access to it, right? Next feature on our list is basically to view staked balance and the status. So if you already started to stake, right, you would be able to see how many tokens you allocated to the staking, which is here 524 something. Fiat value of the stake, and also the status. And the status is a tricky one because you, when you do the on-chain staking, lots of things can happen, right? Depending on like what token you're staking and so on. But overall, if you see the green active here, that means that your staking is active and producing the rewards. If you will see something like inactive, you will get more information, and Node will help you to understand like what's going on with your staking so that you can improve it, right? So that's about the staking balance and the status. Now, next two features are kind of unique for Nova because you cannot have access to those features from any of the applications right now. So it's kind of a brand new feature. And that was, let's say, possible just because we are working together with Subquery team and run all of these indexers of the blockchain networks. And what we did for the past weeks, we have run the indexers for the Moonbeam and Moonriver networks so that we can provide an API to the whole ecosystem so that any application, including Node Wallet, can fetch this information and use it in their apps. So let me demonstrate how it looks in the app itself. So let's start with the total staking rewards. Now, users on the staking tab will see this nice widget, your rewards, once again, with all the rewards in the token representation, which is 44 something MOVR right now, and also the fiat representation of these rewards, right? Now, regarding staking rewards history, that's something what you can find in the assets details. So for example, if you're talking about the MOVR, then when we go here, we can see whole history about your account and all operations which are happening with your account. So you can see all the staking rewards happening, right? And also you can filter it basically by the type of operation. So if you find that that's a lot of staking rewards, right, then you just go and disable staking rewards, and you would be able to see only the operations in this case and the transfers, let's say. So let's go ahead and turn this off. And you can see that you can see basically only the transfers, right? So yeah, that's a nice feature as well. So as soon as we will update the Google Play and App Store apps for the Node Wallet, you would be able to see this extended operation history for MOVR and GLMR tokens. So the same goes for the GLMR tokens. Now, let's talk about the staking itself, because before we just saw something related to like information about your staking or your staking stats, but now let's try to submit something to the blockchain, right? And the first feature here is to initialize the staking flow or start staking. So for that, let me switch to some account which is not staking at this moment. Let's see if I will find one of them. Yes, wonderful. So let's try to stake on the GLMR probably, if that's possible, and we will see it. Once again, our idea was to provide the most useful information to the users before they start staking. And in this case, it's general information about the staking stats, like what's unstaking period, what's minimal stake, and so on. And also, what are the estimated earnings from the GLMR or MOVR staking, right? And you can see all this information here with a big blue button to start staking. Now, here we can select the collator, which will be basically the node with whom we are staking, right? And also we will enter the amount to stake, right? We also preview the information regarding our APR and our earnings in the tokens, sorry. And let's see if we can fetch the data from the Moonbeam network right now. The side note is that there is some there is some load going on the Moonbeam network, so we might end switching to the Moonriver network instead to just see the demo of the staking. And you can see that we cannot even load the fees, so probably there is some load going on the Moonbeam network. So just for demo purposes, for us to not stop, let's proceed with some other account and Moonriver tokens. So for that, let me quickly fulfill this account with the MOVR token so that we can start staking, and then we will proceed with all these cases. Right, so I will go here, I will fetch my MOVR address for that account, and then I will go back here. Yeah, I think it should be sufficient for us to start staking, so let's transfer something like 10 MOVRs. Hit confirm. And let's switch to that account to which I have just transferred the tokens. That should be it, I suppose. We have discussed with the Moonbeam team today, and it seems that there is some, not attack, but some application which is sending lots of requests to the network, basically. So yeah, we can see that our MOVR tokens arrived, so we can test the start staking feature on that account. So let's stop here. You can see that Moonriver network has no issues with the load. So let's select a collator. And here we try to maximize the UX in terms of collator selection. And the main focus and the main priority for the most of the users would be to kind of find the collator with the highest rewards rate, right? Because that's the main interest usually from the users when it comes for the staking. But at the same time, it's very important to understand that the minimal stake of collators can adjust. So it cannot be seen on the Moonriver network, but on Moonbeam network, it's much higher than their, let's say, technical minimum, right? So it's very important to display this information as well. But Moonriver network, as you can see, doesn't have this condition. So for all of the collators here, the minimal stake is 5 MOVR, right? We can paste the address and select collator using the address, right? We can also sort this collection of all collators by our preferred metric, let's say collator's own stake, right? And then we will also still see the rewards ratios so that you can conveniently select any metric which you would like to prefer in terms of collator selection. And at the same time, you are not losing this important information about rewards rate. But let's go back to the estimated rewards. And let's basically select any of the collator. Let's select Kusama. Now let's type something like 7 MOVRs. And we can see that all the screen adjusted for our collator, which is Kusama second, right? And you can see that we now see the rewards rate of Kusama collator. We also see our rewards for the whole year of staking, right? Which would be 1.6 MOVRs, let's say. We also see the minimal stake and the network fee. So let's proceed with this. On the confirmation screen, we just need to confirm the transaction to send it to the blockchain, but we also show all the information for user just to confirm to, to submit the separation. We also show the useful tips here. For example, whenever you start the staking, basically rewards would be produced every 2 hours, right? And if you would like to stop staking during the unstaking period, you will not going to let's say receive the you will have to wait for the 2 days and 10 hours for unstaking period, right? And that during unstaking period you not receiving rewards and other useful hints. That's basically the conditions of on-chain staking. Nothing comes from the node wallet itself. Our responsibility and our goal to provide the most comfortable and the most powerful user interface or an application for you to start staking on-chain. So our transaction with the start staking has been just submitted successfully, right? And we can see that the staking will be active in the next round. and you can see the countdown when it will happen. We also have access to more features like stake more, right? So I can just submit more tokens to be staked now. We also have access to Unstake Tokens. So if I decided to change my mind and yeah, I would like to unstake these tokens, and now I can see the information about your collaterators. But we will go into details of each of these features based on the list, right? So yeah, we just reviewed the staking flow. Let me know if there are any questions in the chat. I will need to monitor both like Zoom and Momentum. But yeah, if you have any questions, post them in the chat, and after we'll go through this list, we will also address them. Okay, so now we just reviewed the start staking flow. Let's stake more tokens, right? Let's go to that account. And you can see that our stake is something like 524. We go here, and now we have some options, right? By default, we are selecting here a collator with the top stake that user have, but also they can select one of the existing collators. So you can see that this account in particular is staking with 2 collators on the Moon River. So we can select any of them just to top up the stake with them. Or we can just select a new collator, right? And the UX will be pretty much the same. So the same list, the same sortings, and so on. But I would just like to add some more tokens to my Ribena collator, let's say, and let's add something like 10 more. The UX is pretty much similar with the start staking flow. We're just confirming here, and that would submit our operation to the blockchain, and then Node will update corresponding user interface with the new information about our staking, right? Worth to mention that we're still showing these tips, right? That the user will have increased rewards only starting the next round, right? And we can see that your stake information has been just updated, and that's something what we already received from the blockchain. So we already received the confirmation from the blockchain, and we updated the information on the Node wallet, right? Okay, so let's proceed to the next feature, which is Unstake Tokens. For the unstaking tokens, pretty much the same screen, as you can see. You can select one of your collators. Let's unstake something from that one. It has no identity, so let's take less with it. Let's unstake again something like 10 MOVRs. From the UX perspective, we're trying to allocate the all useful information for you here. So for example, you can see that you have information how much tokens you have staked with these collators here, and also here, of course, because it's kind of a part of this interface, so that you can always understand what is your maximum, right? So you can unstake something like up to 380, right? And worth to mention that we also implemented some validations here, right? So you know that the minimal stake in Moonriver is just 5 MOVRs, right? But what will happen if I will just try and unstake something like 376? So it will just leave only 4 MOVRs in my stake with this collator. And that what you cannot do, basically. So if I will try to unstake 376, Node wallet will notify me that basically in this case, you will not only not receive the rewards, but you cannot have this staking setup, right? Just because you cannot go below 5 MOVRs per one collator, right? So in this case, we're suggesting to top up the unstaking amount to the whole stake tokens, which is 380. So all of this magic done by Node wallet is just to make sure that users won't be lost, right? So that users understand every step which is happening, right? And our goal was to wrap it in convenient interface and basically help user to, understand things. For the sake of demo, let's unstake something less. So let's unstake 10. That should be enough. We also can see our transfer balance, and that's important for us to understand, do we have enough tokens for fees or not, which allocated down below. So in our case, we are pretty good with this. And once again, the helpful tips are still there. So we hit confirm here, and again, we just send the operation to the blockchain and waiting for the response from the blockchain, basically, right? There might be some tricks, again, related to the loads of the Moonbeam and Moonriver networks, but let's see what will happen. Because unstaking on the Moonriver is not exactly the same as on the Kusama and Polkadot, but it's pretty much similar. So whenever you start unstaking the tokens, you will need to wait certain period of time, which is, we can see that something like 2 days, 10 hours, right? And then you need to redeem them. So you need to do this action of redeeming the token. Let's proceed with the next feature, right? Which would be basically return to stake. So as soon as we did the unstaking tokens request, we can see all the information for the unstaking on the main screen. And the reasoning for that is just because the user can have multiple unstaking requests. Let me show it on, I think on that account. Yes, the reason is that user can have multiple unstaking requests, right? And we need to show all the statuses per each of unstaking requests, right? So let's go back to our account. And let's try to return these tokens back to the staking, just in case if we decided to change our mind, right? So we don't want to unstake these tokens anymore. So in this case, we will go and cancel our unstaking request, which is basically return to the staking. All right, so we can see once again the pretty much sum up of our operation, right? So we're going to return to stake 10 MOVRs, and let's hit the confirm. Exactly the same thing will happen. So we basically submit operation, and now we're waiting for the blockchain to basically respond to us. Okay. Transaction submitted, and we can see that all our 10 MOVR tokens just went back to our staking, right? So that happens pretty much fast. The next feature on our list is basically to redeem unstaked tokens, right? So in this case, once our unstaking period just passed, and let me switch to that account to showcase this demo. Right, so once the unstaking period has passed, we can redeem the tokens, right? So as soon as we tap on the redeem, the logic on Moonriver network works in the way that we can redeem only the whole amounts. So in this case, we have 3 redeem requests, which unstaking requests, which is 0.5, 0.3, and 1. And in sum, it's just 1.8. So in this case, we will just hit the confirm. And once again, once we hit the confirm, that submits operation to the blockchain. And we basically wait for blockchain to respond to us. We're almost done with the features, which is great. So the next on the list are just 3 features like your collators, remove delegation, and the alerts. Right. So you can see that basically we redeemed our tokens, and these tokens should be available for us to transfer from now on. So let's go back to this account, to the MOVR tokens. By the way, you can notice that I'm switching between MOVR GLMR and that one, DApp, which is basically a testnet hosted by Moonbeam team. That's very helpful for us to test things. But yeah, don't be confused. MOVR is a token of Moonriver, GLMR is a token on Moonbeam network, and DApp is a token on Moonbase Alpha. All right, so let's see the view your collators feature. Now, here we will have all the information about your current collators with all their corresponding statuses. You can see that pretty much for this account is everything pretty well. We see the 2 collators, all the stake which allocated to each of the collators, and the APR ratio. We can also go to the details of each collator to see more information, like identity, for example, so that I, as a user, can contact them and yeah, asks about something. I don't know. And we also see the total stake information, like how much tokens staked by the collator themselves and how much stake is received from the delegations, right? So that allows you to see all your collator information. So if you have just one collator, which would be in most of the cases the way for the users, but if you have multiple of them, then it's pretty much convenient for you to manage your collators here, right? And you can always manage this list by tapping this button, which is to do currently. But yeah, you would be able to manage all your collators exactly from this screen. Right. Remove delegation. Remove delegation is basically the unstake feature, but whenever you decide to unstake the complete amount of with certain collator. So for the sake of demo, let's go to, I believe, that account. That account has only one collator, and let's just unstake everything. And if you remember, I can write just like 13 and hit continue. And the no wallet itself will just help me to kind of top up my staking information so that I can unstake everything. I hit confirm. And in this case, yeah, we will basically leave the staking and we will still need to wait for unstaking period. But yeah, that would be just it. After unstaking period, I will redeem my tokens and yeah, I can do whatever I want with them. Let's just allocate some time to that to proceed. And yes, you can see that your stake is currently 0. You still have access to all your information, like how much rewards you earned while you are staking. And for the unstaking requests, you can see the time left, right? And of course, I can cancel this and whatever we just presented in the previous features. So the last one is alerts. Alerts is kind of unique because that helps you to understand what's going on with your staking and helps you to manage that in a proper way. Let me go back to that account one more time. And here we have an alert saying that one of your collators is not selected in the current round. And if we will tap here, we will be navigated to the screen with the collators, right? From where we can understand more information, right? So how we can solve this, how we can fix this as a user. And here we have the huge text saying that, hey, something is going on. And you can see the section with not elected collators, right? And the reason why they're not elected. Basically, that's because as a collator, they failed to obtain the required amount of staked tokens so that user can generate the rewards. And the action item would be here is to, yeah, it's up to the user, but some of the users would decide, for example, to remove their nomination to these collators, right? Which can be done easily from the unstaking feature. Yeah, I think that would be it for all of our features for MOVR and GLMR staking, right? We have done the implementation and testing for the Android, which I was just presenting. Sorry that you haven't seen this feature of changing, but that would be looking exactly the same as stake more and unstake. I just running not the latest version, let's say, right? And we expect the release to be available on the next week. All right, so let me check the chats. Whoa, I see lots of people in Momentum. Let me scroll here. Really like the way in which you switch between the assets. Yeah, we're also planning to have a bit more improvements in this site. So yeah, that will become only better from now on. And is this update live already? And if not, when is it coming out? So we are planning to release this next week, certainly for Android, and for the iOS, maybe like the end of the next week or the week after. So we will see how it goes. But basically, yeah, the development is done. Testing is done as well. So we're just polishing stuff, fixing minor things, and we'll roll out this update the next week. So stay tuned for the announcements. All right, I think that was all the questions that we have currently. So let's go back to our slides and let's talk about the roadmap. Now, huge huge thanks and I appreciate everyone for the feedback and support, because our Kusama second Treasury proposal was just approved. That's a huge milestone for us as an independent team, right? That means that we have more resources now to proceed with improving the Node wallet. And to be specific, our goals for the second proposal would be to integrate the cold wallets, which would include the watch mode, the party signer, and the ledger support. The second feature would be the cross-chain transfers. And even though we will cover some of the cross-chain transfers in our current scope with the Moonbeam team, those would be heavily focused on the cross-chain transfers between the Moonbeam and Moonriver networks, while the cross-chain transfers in the Kusama Treasury proposal would be focused on the Polkadot and Kusama networks and the parachains of them. We will also make the first steps towards the integration of the governance. Governance itself is being improved or let's say changed on the Polkadot and Kusama. And our goal would be to be one of the first applications which provides you access to updated governance, right? And the fourth one is basically community selected features. We are listening to community carefully while we develop and as we go. And you can always submit your feature request to our Kenny. So you can go to nowallet.kenny.io and you can see like the whole features which were submitted already, as well as to review and provide the feedback and submit your own feature requests. Our process would be that we saturate our development iterations with those features and confirming them basically with Kusama counselors. So yeah, huge thanks for this feedback and support. We did it, so appreciate. And regarding the overall roadmap, our current priorities is to complete the grant with the Moonbeam. We presented the MOVR and GLMR staking today, right? So everything works. We're planning to roll out this update the next week. And the last and final part of the grant with the Moonbeam would be the cross-chain transfers, right? That would include, as I mentioned, the cross-chain transfers between Moonbeam and Moonriver networks and all the others. Another point on our list is Subquery grant completion. We are working together with them on implementing and hosting the common API for the whole ecosystem. So any other applications can utilize our projects on Subquery just to saturate their applications with, for example, transaction history or staking analytics data. And of course, as we discussed, we will come and execute the second Kusama Treasury grant, which we just reviewed. Worth to mention that we are also in the process of applying to multiple grants with projects from the ecosystem. So stay tuned for the announcement for that one. And remember to submit your feature requests on the Kenny, which I just shown. And that would be it. Thank you so much for joining us. And see you next time, in the next 2 weeks. And huge thanks so much, the Momentum team, for supporting us. It's really great, and I think it went well with no technical issues showing the demo at the same time in the Zoom and Momentum platform. So thank you so much. Yeah, and see you in 2 weeks. Cheers.